Support us by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Liknayan.podcast, and this is Cherry. And for today, meron tayong guest for this episode, which is one of the big names in AI. Ayan, Miss Armielyn Obinguar. Maybe you can introduce yourself. Feeling ko mas may introduce mo yung sarili mo better.
So yeah, I'm Armielyn. So I guess since most of us are really into physics, so I can see myself as like someone who got into physics and then I got into AI afterwards. And I think it's really interesting that to have this be here at the podcast for Pinoy physicists. It's really rare kasi it's always more on developers, lahat ng mga programmers. Pero now it's really more on my domain of background.
So, nag-start ka talaga with physics. And then, paano siya nag-transition from physics to AI?
I think I started my interest in, I guess, in AI back when we were like, I think on college, kasi we had a lot of experiments, and then one professor parang made an exercise that you have to code, and then from there I realized na parang wow, we need to code aside from like solving it in paper. So parang I get to see like, okay, there's other side na parang hindi na siya yung pagiging like programmer. It's not something like for programmers na literally yung background it's on. Parang because of that, it really an eye opener for me to maybe I could pursue it. And then I think as I realized upon it, parang I get to enjoy kasi parang parang ka lang nag-aaral ng English. The way I see programming, it's really like the way you learn English, na meron kang syntax, mga semantics, or right words to choose. So from there, parang I get to see that every time you make a sentence, there's like an output out of that sentence. So parang the way I see it, it's similar to how I think about AI. Para siyang full of, I think, sentences na parang yung output niya is something na kagaya ng TikTok na parang magugulat ka na pag nag-search ka ng physics. Lahat ng nasa feed mo is like physics. So parang it's like, for me, it's really more on words talaga siya or language for me.
That parang naging way of communicating na rin talaga siya. It's nice. And then, so currently, what exactly are you doing? What specific part of AR is your specialty?
I think mostly right now it's more on text-based. For example, parang you have a lot of PDF, kumbaga, and then you put it to that AI. Pag nagsabi ka ng sentence now, what is inside this document, it will give you an output of ano yung laman ng document. So parang it's really more on words again, that you just put it inside of it, and then magbibigay siya ng output na text din based on what you ask. Kumbaga. So it's like a set of instructions na parang yun na input mo. Binigay mo sa kanya yung utos na yun or instructions. And then from there, the output will just either text or yung mga nakikita natin images, right? Yung parang mga nakikita ko sa Facebook na nagagawa sila ng mga generative, mga AI na pictures, like for any celebrities, and so parang the way, yun yung currently na ginagawa ko. Para siyang, it's a mix of words, tapos may image ka pa ng tao, and then, or like videos. So parang, I think it's something like that.
So, ang galing kasi parang the way I see it from my field, pwede akong mag-input ng, let's say, article or publication somewhere. Tapos pwede ko i-prompt na, anong key point ng research na to?
Yes.
Ganun ba yan?
Yes.
So basically, masasummarize mo kagad kung maraming research papers in just one prompt.
I think it's nice din kasi parang even if andito na yung output niya, which is yung either summary or whatever on that paper, parang you can still validate it since you know the domain ng certain paper. I think it's more on the sense na parang kahit may output na siya, you have to validate kung tama. Kasi sometimes people use ChatGPT and then think of it na true siya. Pero pagbasa nila na parang, wala siya sa internet, wala ring cited references. So I think that something needs to be done correctly. Like the way people see that ChatGPT is not like an information bank, but rather just something na you feed a data there, and then it gives you an output based on what data you put into there. So not like an information.
Since na-mention mo na rin yung chat GPT, I think almost everyone now is using chat GPT. So maraming curiosities din talaga. Like, ano ba yung extent na pwedeng magawa ni chat GPT? How do you feel na, anong limitations niya?
I think on the sense of the strength, like for example, pwede mo nang ilagay yung PDF, and then from there mag-ask ka na through the prompt, like what is this paper, what and then so on. And then I think is pwede ka na mag-picture, and then you upload it there as well, and then titingnan niya kung ano yung nasa doon sa picture. So it's very massively interesting na parang yung mga, akala natin yung data is something like numerical lang, yung mga nasa like numbers and all. Now, even the image and text or even videos can be used by ChatGPT kung kukunin yung by frames. But I think on the side of, I think on the challenges or limitations, andun pa rin yung natawag na model hallucination. It's a term where it makes its own sense of truth. Na parang, kunyari you ask what is physics, and then the output is, hindi naman talaga about physics, it's biology. So parang that same goes with the possibility na people can be misinformed if it's not gonna be used well. Kasi it's a source of, people are using it like every single day. I don't think na walang gumagamit na nun, or kung meron man, meron namang eventually mag-a-adapt.
So for these cases, I think even for maybe machine learning in general, di ba tayo, user din yung nagsiset kung ano yung pang-train talaga na data. So for that cases, how do people control kung ano yung training data na ginagamit? What if may mag-add ng malicious data for training? Di pati yung na ina-output niya, naka-corrupt na din.
I think it happens if yung ginamit na certain tool, it's not something you can actually, usually meron kasing, website, for example, si OpenAI, yung ChatGPT, yung lahat ng regulations under it, or like how do we use it. But when you like see some apps, I think one of it yung nag-trending na parang you put your face and then yung throwback ba yun na picture. Yeah, that one.
Graduation photo.
Yes. I think meron cons lang kasi na parang does your data is being used to train the model itself, like yung pictures. So I think the way we see it is like you have to really check the app itself. Like, do they have some statement na parang we will not gonna use your data for training our model, or meron dong parang request na parang we're gonna use it once you use the app. So parang it's something depends on the platform, but when we say malicious kasi it's usually happens if, yun nga, hindi natin napipili na mas maayos yung gagamiting platform. Like, pwedeng yung mga, kala natin OpenAI ChatGPT pala, but it's, it's, how do you call this, a duplicate one, but more corrupted. So I think valid checking talaga is, I think one skill that people should know when this AI coming in, very, speed, yung speed nila parang ang bilis eh. Like, can keep up nga sometimes kasi mga ganito ganyan.
Actually, yun din yung isa sa mga, good points to make, that AI is progressing so much.
Yeah.
That I feel that tayo as normal, intelligent people we are trying hard to catch up kung ano din nararating ng AI. And what are your points na? How do we as non-artificial intelligent beings catch up to how progressive AI is becoming?
I think siguro we can start with thinking that these AI are built by humans. Kasi when we say AI, kinukuha lang niya yung mga like data, which is all public available on the internet. Like si ChatGPT, kinuha niya yung mga data from across different, web sources, ganyan yung mga and so on. So I think the way we see it is like it's also human developed product na without humans, that's gonna be AI. That's why it's artificial. All right, it's not like very authentic in some ways, not. And then I think the way I see whenever there's developments talaga ang bilis. Nung bumagsak si ChatGPT, like talaga nilabas na OpenAI last year, everything like really changed, right? Na parang everyone is using this for every single day. And some people are not accepting it kasi nga parang, how can I believe this na nagwo-work siya, ganyan. So parang, I guess more on the side of transparency that people, when we use it or when they develop this, they have to be transparent. Hindi makaharm yung tao or they have to let people trust this its own. Kasi before nung ChatGPT, people are still confused na can I trust this certain thing here like itong ChatGPT. But when people find it very reliable on some tasks, nagiging ano na siya, parang okay, it makes sense to use it. So I think eventually people trusts will eventually progress, and same goes how they adopt to this technology. Kasi I think it's really trust yung nag-improve kung gusto mong i-embrace yung technology. Like how we see cars before magkaroon ng ng car before, it's always yeah. So there's always like na parang
Totoo. I think normal naman siguro na we always question a new technology na nag-rise.
Mm.
So, and maybe a good take on it is paano tayo makakapag-adapt na? Paano nga ba nag-transition from horses to cars, di ba? So how do we now transition from tayo lang to AI, may help ng AI with everything.
Yeah, I think I agree. Kasi when I ask people, especially the I think some, I guess, fields, parang hirap talaga i-adopt si AI. Kasi, for example, like, would you agree, like, di ba, parang using it for use cases that's really for, let's say, medical, parang we can rely lives of people on this machine, and some questions about it. But I think it's a good thing that people ask about those questions kasi it also keeps, changing yung current na, like, let's say, sa GPT. Before, when you ask how to do this to the person, nagbibigay siya ng response. But when people reported it or like question the responses, it becomes better. So I think whenever people question something, it also improves how we think about or how these developers or whoever built this, continue progress it. Parang, I think it's a good thought na parang even in the science community, we always question this, like study, right? Like this equation. So parang, I think it's a good, part of being a human person that we always question. Unlike AI, it just, yung kung ano yung lagi nating inputs, yun lang yung susundin niya. But for us, we have our own, how they call this, parang meron tayong thinking talaga on our own, like consciousness, kumbaga. So I think that makes us different more.
So what do you think? Paano ba yung how do you foresee? Paano pa makakatulong ang AI when it comes to solving different problems in different fields?
I think now that, especially on social media, I think bigger talaga yung avenue for this AI. The reason why it's so big, like parang sobrang daming data na pwedeng ma-capture. Let's say Twitter, YouTube, TikToks, or other kinds of social media. Parang dami. Kasi every single countries, they have a lot of users. So I think I see it like when there's a great number of data available, I think that's the time we can utilize AI. Kasi I think the reason why may data, it's because it needs to be like uncovered. Kung ano ba yung, kunyari, pain points ng mga tao, bakit ganito yung response nila, why they don't like this video, or like, bakit walang gumagamit ng TikTok for this age demographic. So it's like, I think it course with the scientific knowledge. Like, we did use questioning, trying to, set of questions, do hypothesis, and so on. So parang I think it's same goes with the future of AI. When there's a big amounts of data, I think it also help us to analyze it better, and help us to improve the way we do things, especially before it's always Excel lang, but now that it's, let's say 100K or above, parang hirap ng i-excel lang. So I think it's good thing na parang these tools are actually introduced for us to utilize.
So, how about sa ano? I think this is ako galing talaga sa akin yung tanong. Paano, ano yung level of AI ngayon ng Pilipinas? I mean, if you look locally, how is the AI being treated in the Philippines? Or maybe in comparison with other countries?
I think right now we're still adapting to it. I guess as I can see it kasi like the way curriculums now or even training programs, we're still coping up with this technology. Like even ChatGPT was ready a few months ago na launch. People are still figuring out how to use it well. I guess we're still on the progress of adaptation. Kaya parang I don't consider na parang Philippines is on artificial general or may term kasi silang sinasabi about it. But I don't think we're that in possession. Parang right now we're still trying to experiment paano gamitin si ChatGPT, ano ba itong mga to, or and so on. So I think nandun pa siya. But I think once we figure it out how we do it, I think that's the time where people might do something more, like using it for their, I guess, research. I guess that's something that I would definitely see in the future as.
Pero kung isipin, no, like, in the Philippines, mga Pilipino, sobrang hilig natin mag-internet,
Yeah.
social media, diba? So, ibig sabihin, we can generate so much data
Yes. Yes.
already. So, ibig sabihin, the data is there. Kailangan
But
natin mo gagalaw. Tama ba? Kasi, although I feel like there are a lot of IT or AI specialists already in the country.
mm-hmm.
How are we progressing?
I think siguro yung talent din for AI. I think meron naman tayong portion, but let's say, yun nga, social media, it's so big. I guess the capability to handle such big data, I guess yun yung something na might be questioning. But I think the way I see it is like, I think we have a lot of data that's available. I think some people na lang would want to explore that and do something from there. So I think ang mangyayari in the future, it's we have a lot of data, but we do have few people doing something on that data. So I think that something might be lacking because again, AI is not like traditional teach on, let's say, different programs like in physics. We know this, but not like the way, programmers know or IT people know. So I think it's really teaching across all levels yung how to use it. Kasi ChatGPT is for general purpose na eh. Parang anyone can use it eh. So parang why parang gatekeep that kind of learning for all of the people.
But how do you think, no, na we can promote yung pagtuklas or pag go into AI field? Because as you said, we need people. We already have the data, but we need people.
Yeah.
Paano kaya natin promote na this is an interesting field, at dami niyang potentials? How can we recruit people into going to this field?
I think on the sense of physics, I think there's still few people parang like we go always parang want to do the research about it. I think feeling ko I would expect na parang it'd be nice for physicists, people na parang develop something that's like an AI I guess studies kasi in foreign countries they develop talaga like I think mga researchers nila are really continuing to make research about it. So I think it'd be nice to have that I think syndicate of I think Pinoy physicists developing a certain LLM that we call it, kasi right now I think yung equation side the mathematical side ng ChatGPT I don't think it's accurate right now. Parang times it's I think a couple of times or more pa it still make mistakes. So I think it's nice to I guess have the community na parang promote that I guess by doing research and then eventually I guess government could adopt to it or like I guess a lot of physicists could go into IT industry because I think that I think similar to my role models which is Miss Dr. Reina. So parang I see it na parang we have as like skills and as a physicist na parang we have that scientific mindset na parang everything that's around data, it's not just something na parang i-code mo lang siya. Parang we always something meaningful from that data na we are like getting. So I think it's nice to see more physicists on the side of data science or AI. Kasi parang, I guess that's what needed it. Kaya parang it's data science. Parang there's a science to it. Kaya I think I see that na parang, hopefully, I think, I hope to see more pa on the AI side.
I think so too. Feeling ko right na yun na talaga yung track natin eh. I mean, as people, dyan na talaga papunta. AI is inevitable.
Yeah.
So, ang kailangan na lang talaga natin gawin is to make sure na keep up tayo.
Yeah.
Pero on that side too, ano yung current challenges doing AI?
I guess una yung data. I guess how to even, let's say sa mga computer natin, then meron kang 1 million na data set. Parang ang hirap siya i-process on a certain laptop. Baka, alam mo yan, parang, I guess the computing power, like, is there any available devices that we could use na hindi cheap, hindi expensive to even start AI? And then, availability of probably ng mga, I guess, learning materials, like how to even build one. So, I think yun yung mostly na challenges, like, meron tayong available data, but how to utilize it. So, more in trainings or like courses available online or even forums or community like this na parang that promotes data thinking. Kaya parang when I hear the word AI, parang I guess the think pa rin na it's data eh. So parang naging ano lang siya, parang expensive word to say na AI. That's like a buzzword. But on the side, it's really data na parang it's heavily focus on data. Na kapag walang data, I don't think there be an AI out of nothing. I think that's why physicists are really good at handling data because we handle a lot of data din.
Siguro may kwento, I guess not just me, pero halimbawa si Reggie and other scientists din, we are all using ChatGPT, ganyan. So, my question is, what about the ethics side of it? Na, actually, naging question eh, if you use ChatGPT, for example, to help you code or to help you with your paper, igagawin mo ba siyang co-author? What is this kind of
Yeah. I think it depends on the situation. In terms of coding, parang I think when we say coding naman, para siyang parang walang owner of a certain line of that code. Parang it's like you don't know kung sino may-ari nito. It's like you just copy paste it on internet and then nag-work siya on your end. So parang it's already done. So parang on coding side, okay lang na parang gamitin mo yung ChatGPT. At least you know how to use it. Hindi lang yung parang copy lang and then nag-run, tapos hindi mo alam paano, bakit gumana. So parang ganon. But I think under science research or mga, I think, papers, I think that's where the boundary should go. I guess because maybe, ChatGPT is open source. So likely a lot of data on different domains are being fed. Siguro if it's more on specific on research papers, like yung model or yung AI na yun is for research lang talaga yung data niya, I think it would be reliable more. But if it's more on the side of general public and maraming data, like hindi lang siya research, pati siguro mga reklamo, parang I don't think the output will be as reliable as we think. But if it's really the main focus on the research, physics, chemistry, and all the science fields, parang I think that would be more reliable to think about. Kasi galing lahat yun, ang data na alam niya is yun lang. Walang ibang pasok. So I think that's where malicious content comes in because it's open source and anyone can actually handle it. May alarm pa. Okay. Anyone can handle it. So parang I think that's where the issue of malicious content Like anyone can put a prompts that's not really, I think, ethical, and then unless if it's domain focused. So I think I really agree, if we're gonna be developing something, it should be domain focused para yung output niya is expected natin na lalabas, hindi yung iba yung lumabas.
How about on the human side?
Mm.
Na, ano yung, dapat bang magkaroon tayo ng set of rules of when we can use AI to
Mm-mm.
help us? For example, in classroom setting,
Yeah.
nung nauso yung hybrid classes, di ba? We can take our exams online. So, madaling mag-change tab lang. Tapos, pretty pa, sagot nga itong exam ko. So, how do we draw the line for us people
Mm-mm.
on when to use yung benefits ng AI?
Mm-mm. I think that's where the rules and regulations really, yung mga policies about it. I think so far, it's still in progress eh. Like, paano ba masasabi na yung ginagawa natin, kasi parang right now, we can still be sure what's ethical or unethical. Kasi we don't have any policies that's really showing na it's unethical like that. So I think it should start from there, like a policy that's related to this so that protects people. Kasi recently there's like a reporter na parang nagkaroon ng parang I think deep fake siya na parang merong information dun sa lower tab na parang she's announcing a certain news pero hindi naman talaga. So I think it protects people din kasi when there's a policies or rules and regulation. Because what happens is like either mahack sila or someone will use their photos to scam people or it's the other side. So I think proper regulations or policies would also help to protect, I guess, tas people din eh. I think the way yung mga spam calls, I think generative AI is now being used to it eh. Kaya parang tuloy-tuloy yung mga calls eh. Parang hindi na siya, hindi na siya manual. Like maya-maya may bagong calls. I think it's being used now for that other side. So I think it's now that the time to go, while hindi pa nakapag-adapt fully, I think na parang meron na parang regulations to even follow it. I think people could also give feedback kung paano siya yung
Siguro yung regulations part na yan, no? Yun, as I've mentioned before, kanina na AI is progressing so much. Yung regulations natin, di ba tayo as people, we're still trying to catch up. And then, more so, yung rules and regulations, not just regulations on a more local basis, even yung laws natin, hindi pa nga naka-adapt to the digital world eh. So, maganda siguro no na we promote these kinds of regulations on a more government level na government mismo yung mag-set na ano ba yung pwedeng magiging limitations or ano yung extent ng pwede nating magawa.
Actually, I agree. I think it really starts with from that side of the government because I think the policies are being handed over to us eh. Like they're the one really making the decisions on that side. I think it's time talaga na parang to make it fast yung regulations kasi sobrang bilis ng developments eh. And people might be doing it for, I don't know, the other side of it, like doing deep fakes or posting people's pictures somewhere else and then we humiliate sila for some reason. So I think it's better to have that first before people are now, using it for that side. I guess that's something na worrisome, no? Na para like students maybe can use it for research and so on. Na parang if there's no policies to be followed, I think laging gagawin din na parang wala siyang, restriction kasi is something should be done talaga. Not that that's restriction na parang hindi na pwede mag-build ng AI, but I think on the side of how to use it, kasi some users are either doing it for something else, and I think that's very worrisome na, hopefully we have that soon.
Pero is it also possible for AI to police itself? na siya na yung mag-detect, ito, deepfake. Ito,
Yeah.
misinformation na to.
I think right now there is. Kaya meron na siyang parang classification. It's like AI and anti-AI. Parang it's like naglalaban na sila. Like the way we see it, like parang yung mga students nag-generate ng essay from AI generated somewhere. And then there's AI there na to share like, okay, this is 100% generated by AI. So it's like, yun sila na yung parang tool na we can use to eventually find out which one are like deepfake, which are like misinformation, and so on. I think yung time siguro na parang where how can people use those things? Kasi even teachers parang they're utilizing it now na parang how to spot my students ano. Generated
Napapansin ko yan in social media. Like, di ba yung magpo-post na, okay, pinagawa ko yung essay ko to chat GPT and then there's a, let's say, plagiarism checker or
Yeah.
AI generated homework checker. And then someone else gagawa siya ng isa pang way para, okay, pag ginamit mo to, mag-detect ng ganitong checker. Nagpapatong-patong lang sila, you know?
Yes. That's why really I think really policies talaga would help more about it. I think sometimes naging unethical din yung users eh. Like they're the one talaga na
Oo.
right. Right. The AI is really good naman. But since we're the one putting the responses, inputs, nako-corrupt siya for some reason kasi hindi naman talaga niya hawak din kung ano yung magiging say ng tao eh. It depends on their problems, their situations. So kaya parang I see it talaga na it's human
Oo. Parang
effort.
garbage in, garbage out din talaga.
Yes.
It mainly depends kung anong ipasok mo.
Mhm. Like, kaya parang I think sa users talaga dapat mas maraming education about it. Like, kasi naging general na talaga si AI. Hindi na siya pang IT lang. Na parang even you're 90 years old, 85 years old, or older age na, parang pwede mo siyang gamitin. Even siguro bata baka they know how to use ChatGPT.
Oo. Parang ngayon, kahit wala pa sa school, marunong ka na nga gumamit ng phone eh.
Oo.
Ibig sabihin, meron ka nang mabubuting thing dyan na hindi natin alam kung ano.
Yeah, I agree. Kaya parang, I guess, guidance is one, but I guess hindi rin talaga natin siya makontrol on some ways. Kasi I think people are always have that nature na we always want to try new things. Sometimes that new things is either not good or it's good.
So, I just remembered, I think there was one time sabi ni Elon Musk, we have to watch out for AI. What exactly do we have to watch out for?
I think it's when we became more and more dependent to it, na parang we're like, hindi na tayo nag-iisip, parang ganun. I think that's where we need to cautious. Like parang, I don't need to do this. I can ask ChatGPT. But I think there's still some ways na parang we need, I think, thinking. And then, I guess the way we do naman yung prompt, it's really, thinking. But to do a task that's, ako na lang yung gumawa niyan. I think that's what very hopefully, yeah, I think students should avoid that. Thinking na parang I let my grades be ano ng AI. But yeah.
So, nakadepende pa rin talaga sa atin, no?
Super.
So, do you think in the future, medyo naisip ko lang siya, we have people who are developing AI and people who eventually become just reliant to AI. So, itong mga tao to na nagiging reliant lang, hindi na sila nag-iisip. So, nag-regress yung, di ba, yung thinking capability.
Yeah, I think that's where we became AI.
So, pwede siyang mag-create ng how do I call it? We can discriminate in a way. Nag-isip ako ng magandang term. Pwede mong i-separate yung klase ng tao into the one that's promoting AI, doing the AI part, developing AI, and that's one that's just continuously regressing kasi nagde-depend na lang siya sa benefits.
Yeah, agree. I think meron pa ring certain situations talaga na parang minsan like complicated problems na parang like human problems, we have a lot of problems. I don't think AI knows everything about it. So parang there might be situations na AI couldn't be possibly, I guess, more in emotions. Parang i-comfort ka. I don't think AI can comfort. And then, I think, yeah, I agree na parang in the future, parang may people na parang ginagamit yung AI for bad stuff. That there's like people na parang use it for good things. Parang it's like it's interesting na parang that's how people adopt to it. May iba-iba lang na purpose for that.
Pero technically, no, talagang nakadepende. AI is dominating, yes. But how AI dominates still depends on
Yeah, the people.
us.
Yeah. Kasi I mean,
So, sa atin pa rin ang control.
yeah, super. I think that's something should people know na like you have to realize na whenever you do a prompt, it's you commanding ChatGPT to do this for you. So parang you have to, I think AI should thank you for putting so much data for him, for that, machine to actually learn. So parang I think the master. I don't think AI is the master kasi they're reliant to what data we put into them. So parang it's another thing to no, it's not gonna take over unless
Let's take over.
yeah.
Pero since we're feeding data to AI, ano, saan na pupunta yung data? Would that data be publicly accessible?
Mm. I think some companies do it private. Yung parang hindi na pinapa-access with other people or it's either kaya meron tinatawag na open source wherein when we say open source, it's really publicly available. But if it's like private owned, less likely na makakita tayo ng data nila. Minsan kinikip talaga kasi I think the way they see data, it's really it's a gold mine na once you got that, parang it earns you a lot, parang ganon. So I think that's where I guess private and other sectors would actually think about.
Oh, kasi I remember, di ba, yung issue with Cambridge Analytica before na kumuha lang sila ng data and it's free, it's open.
Yeah.
And then they use it to control people or countries or so many things, di ba? So, pati ba yung nakukuhang data ng AI from people, may ano rin siya, may regulations din on where it goes.
I think there sometimes yung terms and conditions parang nilalagay talaga nila dun eh. But sometimes we don't read it eh. But I think sometimes they put it eh na parang they be using it to train their data or AI and so on. So parang meron silang disclaimer na parang na-check na natin siya. Now, it's a yes for them. So parang it's time to collect the data. So I think it's something na parang I guess yung terms and conditions, baka palitan nila ng something that's visible to people na okay, we're getting your data to do this.
Oo, yung hindi lang yung check sa dulo.
Yeah, parang, kasi English eh, parang ganun. Wala siyang other language na Tagalog. So I think it's really more on to be upfront about it. But I think it's really depends on what, industry it is. Kasi in financial, I guess, like mga how do you call mga bank and all, they're really transparent. Kasi it's money eh. But on other, I'm not sure with other industries, but I think it's really transparency where they're gonna be using it, bakit, how long. I think yung long na maybe they use it for 5 years. Sabi yung data nandun lang for 5 years. But in shots really make sense. So I think that's one common challenges.
Okay. Ayan. So siguro for the last question for this episode, since AI is already out there, we need people. What advice would you give sa gustong maging professionals in AI or just wants to be there as AI takes over?
Yeah. I think siguro talaga is be as data mindset. Kasi when people go to AI, they always think na kung ano nang gagawin is build AI. But they forget na parang we're reliant to the data that's available. So parang you have to have that mindset first so that when you go to building your own AI, alam mo na parang if I don't have much data, I can call it, like sobrang ganito na siya. So parang data, if you start learning data and then how to even understand data, I think that's a good skill kasi you know why this, paano siya nagbigay ng prompt, bakit ganito yung outputs, maybe ganito yung data niya, and so on. So I think analytics and I guess knowledge about data is really important. And then when you go to AI, parang foundation na siya na parang alam mo yung yung parang structure ng AI na parang okay, it's really reliant to data. Hindi siya parang magic gano'n.
How about sa coding part? Kailangan bang magaling ka talagang maging as a programmer to pursue AI?
I think siguro for me, until now I still search. Like for example, may isa akong syntax na hindi talaga alam. Kasi I don't believe na parang memorize lahat nila yung syntax. It's like learning all languages at a time, parang gano'n. So parang you have to be good at searching. So parang you have to know like, okay, ito yung gusto kong gawin. Gusto ko mag-generate ng graph. Pero paano ko siya gagawin? So parang it's something you need to know, like how to search and how to say that yung sinearch mo, accurate siya for what you need. So I think that's a skill that needs for people wanting to go in coding. Hindi talaga siya parang you have to memorize like yung all the syntax. Parang hirap siya. So you just be good at Googling. If you can be good at ChatGPT, that's gonna be a good skill kasi si ChatGPT, very good to use din siya if nag-start ka with coding. I guess 90% mas maganda rin yung ChatGPT because it teaches people how to even start. But there might be some quite instances na may mga errors, may mga maling output, but it's okay. But the reason why it's because of like that, iba kasi yung situations eh. So I think that's a good skill. You don't need to memorize. You don't need to be good at this and that. Yeah.
Na-encourage ako. Grabe kasi I mean, I try to code every once in a while. Tapos, ang impression ko talaga is IT professionals. Pero nasa sa utak na talaga nila yung syntax. So, ina-assume ko na dire-diretso lang sila nagta-type ng code. Tapos, pero when I do it, parang every other line, kailangan check ko pa ba yung gawa ko
Yes.
or something. Or kapag may gusto akong gawin, kailangan check ko pa. So, hindi pala, normal pa rin pala. Okay.
Yeah. I think ang pinaka-skill talaga nila is logic. I think you have to know parang yung starting logic no gagawin mo. Like you want to do this graph because you want to see the trends ng data. So parang you have to know what you want to do. And then from there, you can find related from there. But at least you know yung pinaka gusto mong i-point. Yeah, yun yung parang, I think that's where logic comes in. So, critical thinking is one din. Parang, ano ba yung mga right to copy-paste? Gano'n. Yeah. So, I think that's a very good thing to think din.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. So, for if you want, kasi napansin ko no, na more people, I think from physics background are pursuing data science. From other backgrounds ba? Anong other backgrounds ang pwedeng papunta other than physics? Which backgrounds can go to data or AI?
I think those people that are into the math side, parang statistics, anyone that's background with mathematics. Kasi when we think about data, parang it's still numbers. Like parang how can we quantify like reliability on what we're doing? So parang I think numbers are really important. That's something that IT people might need to learn for us. Parang how to think about those numbers. I think any background that's handling, I think data, like kahit nga yung marketing kasi they're also doing. So I think data science is really for all. It's just a matter of your domain. Let's say you're marketing, so you're likely to go into different marketing firms na needs data. So I think it's really flexible on the sense lang na saang domain. Is it on medical? I think I think on the other side, it's like very, even farming, agriculture, it needs data. So I think any industry that needs data is something that needs for people that can utilize.
So technically, kaya nating paramihin yung AI professionals natin just by promoting within our own fields.
Yes, definitely. I think that's one thing. I think real role models, I think really, really inspiring to see. Like, parang it steps you forward to, okay, pwede pala. So,
Oo. Kailangan lang ng isang spark.
yeah.
Okay, kaya to. And then, just go for it.
Yes.
Okay. And thank you so much. I guess that wraps up today's episode.
So much.
Marami akong natutunan today, and hopefully yung audience din natin maraming nakuhang bagong ideas, and hopefully dumami pa ang AI professionals sa Pilipinas.
Thank you so much. Sana nga din. I really hope to see more and more AI professionals as well. Even in our field, like physicists talaga, I really promote na more physicists in the field.
Oh, no. And I would say na maganda rin na I think kasi when I was doing physics nung nag-aaral pa ako as a student, parang nakafocus tayo on either the hard theoretical stuff or yung experimental stuff. And then, as for how to do, what to do with data, marami hindi siya masyado. It would also be nice na even in the physics field itself, makita yung importance ng how to treat data and what we can do with data.
Yeah, agree. And I think siguro we have the core skills na rin how to analyze data. Siguro more practical experience to even test out the math na we know on physics on that side.
Ayan. Okay, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So maraming salamat sa panonood ng ating bagong episode, at kung nagustuhan nyo yung ating video, huwag nyong kalimutang i-like na yan at click na yan para masuportahan ang ating channel. Maaari nyo rin panoorin ang iba pa nating episodes dito.